Justin, and then Matt.
What's your assessment of the offense over the last couple weeks as opposed to maybe when you guys first started training camp?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we're just trying to get our entire concepts in. The guys are doing a good job learning. We're in the process. Offense is a little bit different than defense when it comes to this time of the year because we're trying to get all our offense in for the entire year. And then obviously when you get to start getting ready for opponents, you get very specific and you narrow down exactly what you're going to work on, which is going to give you higher productivity, be more consistent in doing the things you need to do and doing the right thing. So right now we're just getting finished with that and we're about to make the transition to our first opponent. So it should be getting smaller and the performance level should be going up.
Matt and Jason.
With making that transition to game prep, how much value is it, especially that it's your first game prep of the season, to have those 3 or 4 extra days to really dial in and say, this is how we're going to do things on a regular basis throughout the season?
I think routine is big. I'm a military kid, grew up in a military family, grew up on military bases, waking up to reveille and going to bed to tap, sunrise, sunset. So I think when you give them something and you let them know what the routine is going to be, that they start to get comfortable with it, and that's going to increase performance, not only mentally but physically.
Jason and Brian.
In a camp setting, practice setting, there'll be days where the offense looks good, there'll be days where the defense gets better the offense. How do you judge whether or not it's the offense executing, the defense playing well? How do you kind of break that?
We watch tape on all that stuff. We're trying to figure out who's going to be with us. When I say who's going to be with us, where's that cutoff between starters, 1.5 guys who are between part-time starters, your second string guys, your third, fourth, and fifth string guys. So we're still evaluating personnel. When you're evaluating personnel, you kind of gear it down a little bit so you can see athletic performance and then mentally see how much they're going to be able to retain. After that's done, which is we're coming to an end, it's coming to a close, then you've got to start setting the depth chart and putting guys in and getting ready for the first game. And one of the things that we tell young men, I do, is I tell them, if you really want a job, okay, whether that's being first team, second team, or third team, whatever that job you want, don't make it close, okay? Don't let it come down to a vote of a coach, because if we vote, we may not vote your way. So don't make it close. If you're going to be a starter, show everybody that you're a starter. And, you want one of those Rudy scenes. If we don't start you, we want the whole team coming in, throwing their jersey in front of me, talking about this guy should be the starter. And hopefully, I've never had that happen before, and hopefully it doesn't happen here.
Brian and Troy.
Is there any advantage to the fact that New Mexico will play this Saturday, so you will get a real-life look at what Bronco and his guys are going to do ahead of preparing for that game, whereas they are kind of going blind?
I look at it totally different. I look at it that they're getting an opportunity to play a full football game, and your most growth is between your first and second football game every year. So they're going to get an opportunity to see themselves play. They'll be able to critique it. The kids learn more from watching themselves than from watching others, and they will have immense growth from whatever we see in that tape to what shows up in Arizona Stadium.
Well, Justin and then Matt.
What can you say about the cohesion between yourself, Coach Brennan, Matt Atkins, and the offensive coaches? How are you guys working together?
I think you need to throw Josh Oglesby in there, our run game coordinator as well. I think it's a very unique group. I think, you have a lot of the core guys from San Jose. You've got Bobby Wade coming down from that school up north, and then myself coming in there. Coach Brennan and I go way back. And if there's anything I understand is the chain of command. So we're going to do exactly what he wants us to do. And when I have the freedom to do some things that I want to do, I'll exercise that freedom. But I do think it's important that everybody gets a voice in what you're doing and they get a chance to express themselves. And once that's done, we'll make a decision, or I'll make a decision. When we walk out the door, we walk out the door together.
Matt and Jason.
We've talked a lot this offseason just about the guys who stayed in this program and how they are setting the culture for you guys coming in as the staff and for just this team and what it's going to look like in 2024. How have they underscored that throughout their work and their preparation, their focus in fall camp?
You guys need to write so many articles on that. It's ridiculous. I've been with special teams. The '98 team was a special team. I've been with teams that are extremely close, and I can go through all of them, and I got a lot to go through. I'm not sure this team's not the closest. We will see, because we'll have ups and downs and trials throughout this season. and we'll see how it goes when it comes to an end. But coming out of the gate, this might be one of the closest football teams I've ever seen.
Jason and then Michael.
This time of year throughout the country, coaches are naming starters. It's obviously starting here. How beneficial is it to know your starter going into camp?
Noah? Are you referring to Noah?
Just knowing, like, you knew what you had in Noah, you knew he was going to be the starter from day one. How beneficial is that to the whole team?
Yeah, I think it's a huge benefit. It's a huge benefit. I'm going to tell you a story about somebody else right now. I was at Syracuse and I had just got on the job and somebody told me, I know who your defensive captain is going to be. There was some guy by the name of Zaire Franklin. I had never met Zaire Franklin, who's the starting linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts right now. And I think he was like a 5th or a 7th round draft pick, and they said he was going to get cut. And, now he's on the team and he's on his 2nd contract and team captain. But that's not the story. The point is, the person came up and told me who my captain was going to be. And I said, hey, he's not my captain until I tell you he's my captain. And that's how I responded. I said, I've got to see the guy. But after I saw the guy for like 4 or 5 days, I'm like, that's going to be my captain. That's the guy that's going to be the captain. Noah was going to always be the starting quarterback. When you meet him, you just understand why, that it's not even close. He is as comparable to any quarterback I've ever had off the football field mentally. The only person I can compare him to is Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's still in the league. Okay, so Noah, as I said before, and I'll bring this to a close, is not normal. He's different. Thank God for that.
Michael.
What has Cole Tannenbaum done to kind of distinguish himself from that next tier of quarterback group?
Consistently good, not occasionally great. Somebody you can wind your clock by. You know exactly what you're going to get day in and day out. He constantly gets better. He's taking feedback and he's growing. Those are the things.
Any other questions for Coach? Michael, go ahead.
You've obviously been a little banged up in the offensive line throughout the course of camp, so maybe things are kind of coming together here a little bit at the end, but what kind of challenges has that presented to you, and what has kind of maybe been the upside that some other guys have gotten reps with the first team?
Yeah, it's a lot of people have gotten reps, and there's been some upsides. For me, I haven't got an opportunity to see them all intact working together. So, yeah, I'm not sleeping really good, but there's a whole bunch of other guys on the staff that are sleeping great because, Coach, you're going to love him. Just get him to the game. I'm like, okay, all right, I believe you. But, we got 4 out of 5 back, and I expect there's going to be some continuity, and it should be good for us. And I would imagine all of them being healthy, ready to go, that we're going to be in a better situation than most teams at this level.
Justin and then Brian.
Going back to what you were talking about, where you don't really know about them until you see them, with that, even though he's been in a limited fashion, what's your impressions of T-Mac?
I've got like over 40 NFL wide receivers in the league. Over 40 guys became millionaires that I've coached in 36 years. I'm not sure I've met anybody like him. I'm not sure I've seen. The only person I've seen with catch radius like that is Larry Fitzgerald. And I'm not comparing him to Larry because he played 17 years. I'm just telling you, he's not normal. He may be better than everybody I've ever coached. We'll see, because I've coached some really, really good ones. And he played really, really well in the pros. But from a college level, he may be better than all of them.
Last question to Brian.
This could apply to the O-line, but really any position. Is there a point leading up to the season where when someone's been banged up and hasn't been a full participant that you have a cutoff where it's like, I don't know if they're ready to go for the opener, or are there certain guys that maybe you just trust will be ready even without the practice?
It comes down to the conditioning level. I mean, a guy can be physically healthy, but not conditioned enough to go on an 8, 10, 12 play drive without mentally breaking down on 8 and 9 and doing something that kills the drive because you're just tired. So I think the biggest thing is not whether they're healthy and whether you can stick them back in there because they played before, is where's their conditioning level at. If they've been a starter, if they've been a consistent performer in this program, then you want to get them on the field as fast as you can because you can predict what they're going to do on the football field because they've done it over and over and over again. But I would say the major concern would be the conditioning level, whether they're in condition to play that many snaps in the heat, especially with the first 2 games being here in the stadium.